You're standing in line. Your phone is in your pocket. 10 seconds pass. Then your hand moves on its own, and you're scrolling before you even decided to. Why does that feeling arrive so fast? Why can't you just stand there? The answer isn't weakness. It isn't a lack of discipline. The real answer is far stranger. That itch you feel, the one that sends your hand into your pocket, is one of the oldest survival systems your brain has. And it might be the most misunderstood feeling you own. Scientists call it boredom. You probably call it annoying, but boredom isn't a malfunction. It's a signal. It evolved for a reason, and that reason still runs your life today, even in a world your ancestors would never recognize. Start with what boredom actually is. Psychologist Sandi Mann, who has spent years studying it at the University of Central Lancashire, describes boredom as the feeling you get when your environment fails to give your brain enough stimulation to hold its attention, not too little to survive on, too little to engage with. Your brain isn't built to idle, it's built to search. Think about what that search cost your ancestors. 100,000 years ago, there was no scrolling. There was no idle hand reaching for a screen. There was only the environment, and the environment was either giving you something useful or it wasn't. Food, threats, movement, weather changing. A brain that noticed when nothing new was happening was a brain that knew it was time to move somewhere new. That's the part most people miss. Boredom isn't punishment. It's a nudge. It's your mind telling you the current situation has stopped paying off, and somewhere else might pay off more. Stay in a spot too long with nothing to gain, and you starve. Leave too early, and you waste energy. Boredom is the ancient calculation your brain runs to solve that exact trade-off. Have you ever wondered why sitting still feels almost physically uncomfortable? Here's where it gets stranger. In 2014, researcher Timothy Wilson and his colleagues ran a study that ended up published in the journal Science. They put people alone in a room with nothing to do. No phone, no book, just their thoughts. Then they gave those same people the option to shock themselves with a mild electric jolt if they wanted something, anything, to break the silence. A striking number of people chose the shock. Some did it repeatedly. Being alone with an unoccupied mind was so aversive that physical pain felt like the better option. Read that again. Not because they were unusual or broken. Because an empty, unstimulated mind is deeply uncomfortable for almost everyone, and always has been. That discomfort isn't random. Psychologist Erin Westgate, who has built much of her research career around understanding boredom, argues that the feeling exists to push you toward meaning. Her instrumental theory of boredom frames it simply. Boredom shows up when what you're doing feels meaningless or fails to use your attention in a satisfying way. It's not asking you to escape. It's asking you to engage with something that matters. Now bring that back to the phone in your pocket. Your ancestors felt that same tug during a slow afternoon by the fire or a quiet stretch of walking with nothing new on the horizon. Their version of the itch pushed them to scan the land, track an animal, notice a change in the wind. Yours pushes you toward a glowing rectangle that promises novelty every few seconds. Same circuit, completely different landscape. That mismatch is the real story here. Your brain hasn't updated its programming. It still runs the ancient logic. Find stimulation, find something new, find meaning, or at least find motion. But the modern world figured out how to hijack that circuit faster than evolution ever could compete with. Every notification, every autoplay video, every infinite scroll feed is built by people who understand exactly what Sandi Mann and Timothy Wilson were measuring in a lab. They know your discomfort has a price point, and they've priced it at zero effort, delivered in under a second. So when you feel that restless itch in line at the store, you're not failing at patience. You're running software written for a savanna, deployed on a species now living inside glass and steel. Your ancestors' boredom sent them looking for food and safety. Yours sends you looking for a dopamine hit, disguised as a video of someone falling off a skateboard. Does that mean boredom is the enemy? Not even close. This is the counterintuitive twist. Boredom, in its original form, wasn't there to be avoided. It was there to be used. It's the discomfort that pushes creativity, problem-solving, and exploration. Some of the most inventive moments in human history came from minds with nowhere else to put their attention. A wandering mind, uncomfortable as it feels, is often a mind quietly assembling new ideas in the background. The problem isn't boredom itself. The problem is what fills the gap the instant boredom appears. Every time you reach for a screen, the second that itch shows up, you're not solving the ancient signal. You're muting it. You're feeding your brain empty stimulation instead of letting the discomfort do its actual job, which is to push you towards something that matters. Erin Westgate's research suggests something almost hopeful buried inside all of this. Boredom isn't trying to hurt you. It's trying to redirect you. It's the same internal compass your ancestors relied on to leave a barren hunting ground and find a better one. The compass hasn't broken. Most people have just stopped following it anywhere except the nearest dopamine source. Think about the last time you let yourself sit in that discomfort without reaching for anything. Can you even remember it? For most of human history, there was no other option. Boredom had nowhere to hide behind. It sat there, uncomfortable and demanding, until your ancestors either moved their bodies or moved their minds. They told stories around a fire because there was nothing else competing for their attention. They noticed the shape of clouds, the behavior of animals, the small details that eventually became art, agriculture, and invention. Discomfort with stillness quietly built human civilization one restless mind at a time. Now that discomfort gets solved before it ever fully arrives, and something gets lost in that trade. The ideas that used to surface in a quiet, unstimulated mind rarely get the chance to surface at all. So the next time your hand drifts toward your pocket before you've even noticed the itch, pause for 1 second longer than usual. That feeling isn't a glitch in you. It's 100,000 years of ancient signal, still firing correctly, still trying to point you somewhere better. It just doesn't know your world replaced open land with an open feed. Tonight, when that restless pull shows up again, you'll have a choice your ancestors never had. Not a choice about whether to feel it, a choice about what you let it point you toward.